Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talk about solar radiation, heat balance and temperature. This is in continuation with the study of atmosphere that we did in the last class, but we are going to go a little detailed into how solar energy comes onto the earth, and then how much of it is taken, how the heat balance is maintained, and aspects regarding the temperature. So before starting, let me just tell you a little bit about this course. This course is called Revise Entire Prelims Syllabus through 3000 plus MCQs. Very explanatory by the name itself. And our goal is to make you revise through MCQs and make you practice the new style of MCQs as much as possible so that you're very comfortable with the way the MCQs are now coming in the UPSC examination, because the pattern has changed. Only one, only two kind of questions are coming up, and the questions are also very detailed, the ones which are coming up. So we are going to do Indian polity, Indian economy. We have done polity and economy. We have done modern history. We are starting with geography. We'll do art and culture, environment, ancient medieval, science and tech, and current affairs. So all of that we will do. And with this, let's just start with the first question. Consider the following statements regarding insolation. The energy received from the sun is in the form of shortwave radiation, and it is constant over the Earth's surface. The farthest distance of the Earth from the Sun is 152 million kilometers on 4th of July, and this position is called as aphelion. Select the correct answer using the code given above. So, given below. So we have talked about how the incoming radiation, that is the solar radiation, is shortwave radiation because it is very high on energy. So the higher the energy will be there, the shorter will be the wavelength. So it is shortwave radiation is correct, but it is not constant over the surface of the earth. Why? Because the features of the earth are such that somewhere there are snow-clad mountains, somewhere there are deserts, somewhere there are deep valleys, somewhere there are oceans. So the amount of insolation that comes also differs, that is absorbed. And also, if let's say this is the earth, this is the equator, these are the poles, the north pole and the south pole. So equator पे the amount of insolation will always be more, है ना, equator and the tropics, as compared to the subtropics or the polar areas, right? So constant over the earth's surface नहीं होता है. So that's why this is incorrect. The first aspect of is this correct, that short wave radiation hai. But even if a word within a statement is incorrect, the entire statement becomes incorrect. So the first is incorrect. Then the farthest distance from Earth of the Sun is 152 million kilometers, which is correct. The 4th of July is the date when aphelion happens, right? 4th of July is important. You can remember it that this is the date when US got its independence, 4th of July. So you can remember it in this way, that US is very far away from India, right? So farthest, when sun is farthest from the earth, that is aphelion, and that is on 4th of July. So second one is correct. And इसी का opposite क्या है? Answer to this is B. There is another, so basically when we are talking about the sun, let's say this is the sun, the orbits around the sun are not like this. Okay, they are not circular in that sense. The orbits rather go in an elliptical manner. Okay, so the orbits are somewhat like this. Okay, they're somewhat like this. So when the earth would be at a nearest position from the sun, this is aphelion. This is just what I'm drawing to suggest to you, that aphelion and perihelion aate kahan se hain. So this is aphelion. This is the farthest away point. This is perihelion. Perihelion happens on 3rd of January every year. So on 3rd of January, you know that the earth makes a revolution around the sun every 1 year, and every year 3rd of January is the day when the earth is closest to the sun, and this is called perihelion. So 3rd of January and 4th of July. So we have often had questions from the winter solstice, the summer solstice, the equinox, etc. But this is one aspect जिस पे यूपीएससी ने भी थोड़ा कम टच किया है, the perihelion and aphelion. Does that mean it is not important? It is important. And again, UPSC, just like I told you in polity, UPSC is touching upon the lesser touched topics now. So this is a very probable topic, aphelion and perihelion. अच्छा, इसमें the winter solstice and summer solstice में UPSC has been making questions very innovatively. For example, summer solstice. Summer solstice happens on 21st of June. So they didn't ask the date or they didn't even ask the month properly. They asked that when is the sun rays falling directly vertically over the Tropic of Cancer, which is the summer solstice. So, and the options they gave was the first half of June, the second half of June, the first half of December, the second half of December. So they are playing with you now. Even with the static knowledge, they are being very tricky in that business. So you have to be very clear with the concept that 3rd of Jan, please remember this figure in your mind. 3rd of Jan, it is here, and 4th of July, it is here. ठीक है, चलो नेक्स्ट पे चलते हैं. Consider the following pairs regarding heat transfer, types of heat transfer and characteristics. Convection, advection, and conduction. So convection, is it the horizontal transfer of heat? Advection, is it the vertical transfer of heat? And conduction, is it the transfer of warmer heated object to cooler heated object? So first of all, convection and conduction, these are very important. Conduction, when do we say that something is a good conductor? When that object is able to conduct, when it's able to take the heat from another object which is touching it, right? So conduction is correctly matched, that it is transfer of warmer object to cooler object. So this is absolutely correct. But convection and advection, what is convection? If this is the earth surface, this is the equator, this is the Tropic of Cancer. So from here there is high insolation, so the gases and the water vapor especially, they will go up, है ना, because they are being heated. Then when they will lose the heat, they will go down, right? And then again they will go up. So this is a convective cell. This same cell is there within the earth also, in the asthenosphere, when magma is moving, है ना, within the earth. So convection is actually the vertical transfer of heat. ठीक है, this is vertical, right? Just like columns, this is vertical. So convection is vertical transfer of heat. On the same surface of the earth, let's say this is the hot area, this is the tropics, and this is the cooler area, right? So what is advection? Advection is when the heat is being transferred horizontally. So for example, you must have heard about land breeze or sea breeze. What is this land breeze? Is when the cooler air comes from the land and goes towards the sea, right? So that is an advection, that is horizontal transfer of heat. So both of these are actually oppositely matched to each other. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding albedo. It is the amount of solar radiation reflected back into space from the Earth's surface. Astronomical albedo is the amount of solar radiation reflected back by the galaxy, and albedo determines the rate at which the incident solar radiation is absorbed. How many of the given statements is or are correct? So you know the concept of albedo, and albedo has been asked multiple times pehle bhi. Albedo is the amount of solar radiation which is reflected back into space. So first statement is absolutely correct. किस तरीके के सवाल आते हैं इससे कि which surface has more albedo as compared to the others? So for example, if you are talking about ice covered surface, ice will always reflect back more sunlight as compared to a desert. ठीक है, desert will absorb that sunlight, ठीक है, solar radiation. So इस तरीके के सवाल आते हैं, but albedo as a concept is also important. So first statement is absolutely correct. Now, astronomical albedo, it is actually the amount of solar radiation reflected by the celestial bodies, like for example, other planets and then asteroids. Basically, our solar system, right? Our solar system, various bodies that are there, how much energy do they, how much solar radiation do they reflect back? And you have to do this very methodologically, very commonsensically, because sun is a very small part of the galaxy, right? Our sun, or any star for that matter, is a very small part of the galaxy. So how will galaxy reflect back the solar radiations? It will be the smaller objects, right? So astronomical albedo is the amount of solar radiation reflected by the galaxy. No, reflected back by various celestial bodies like the planets, like the asteroids, etc., but not the entire galaxy. So second is incorrect. Then albedo determines the rate at which incident solar radiation is absorbed. It is not the rate of absorption, but it determines the rate of absorption. Why? Because higher the albedo, lower will be the rate of absorption of solar radiation. You know this, you understand this inverse relationship, right? Desert will have very less albedo because it will absorb. So its absorption will be higher, its reflection will be lower. Okay? So it determines the absorption of incoming solar radiation is absolutely correct. So how many statements here are correct? Only 2 of the given statements are correct, and I hope you understand why. Fine. Next. 2 statements labeled as assertion and reason are given below. Consider them carefully. Heat budget refers to net flow of energy into Earth in the form of short wave radiation and the outgoing infrared long wave radiation into the space. Clouds, ice, and atmospheric particles play a significant role in balancing the heat budget of Earth. Choose the correct option. So, assertion दिया है और reasoning दिया है. So, heat budget, you understand that how much heat is stored inside the earth, how much is reflected back, how much is used by the earth, that exactly is our heat budget, right? So first statement is absolutely correct, but the second statement, clouds, ice and atmospheric particles play a significant role in balancing the heat budget of the earth. While on the outside this might appear to be a true statement, but please try to understand that 29% of the heat which comes in the form of the shortwave radiation, 29% of the heat is actually reflected back by the clouds and the ice crystals and the atmosphere. So 29% heat is actually reflected back. So this heat does not play any role in balancing the heat budget. It is the rest of the heat which actually penetrates into the atmosphere that plays a role in balancing the heat budget of the earth, right? So second statement is actually incorrect. So this we have specifically mentioned here so that you can point out this statement in a very correct manner and understand why the statement is incorrect. Because 29% heat is 29% incoming shortwave radiations are reflected back by the clouds, ice and atmosphere. That's why this does not play any role in balancing. The rest of the radiation which touches the ground and then reflected back as infrared, that actually heats up the atmosphere. Okay. So here A is correct, R is incorrect. Let's move on to the next one. Which of the following are the reasons for the difference in temperature of the places in South India than the places located in North India? So what are the options? Latitude of the places in South India, closeness to the sea, air mass circulation. So you know that the lower latitude, the latitudes which are closer to the equator, they will always have higher amount of insolation and they will always be warmer. And as you keep on going away from the equator, there will be colder temperature. So latitude definitely impacts that southern India is warmer than Northern India. So first is correct. Closeness to the sea. This effect we call continentality. Continentality. Basically, the more you are away from the sea, the more you are on the continent side of it, the more will be temperature differences. The colder your temperature will be, or the more extreme your temperature will be, because there will be no moderating influence of the sea, right? Sea loses temperature slowly, sea gains temperature slowly, right? Water overall loses and gains temperature slower as compared to land. So that is why, because of the continentality and the closeness to the sea, basically, the southern part of the country will have a very moderate kind of a temperature. There will not be any extreme temperature as such, and the northern part will have extreme temperatures. Then air mass circulation. Air mass circulation is absolutely correct. Basically, what is air mass? Air mass, इस पे सवाल भी आ चुका है, मेंस में भी सवाल आ चुका है. Air mass is basically the static portion of air which has similar temperature, which has similar humidity, basically which has similar characteristics. Fine. So because the air mass which is above the sea is warm overall, so southern India will remain warmer overall because of that air mass circulation. Okay, so here only three, that is all the three here are correct, and all three of these impact the temperature of southern India as compared to northern India. So northern India will have extreme temperatures, southern India does not have extreme temperatures. Next, consider the following pairs about humidity, types of humidity and what does it mean. Absolute humidity, specific humidity, relative humidity. So let's just do this. I'll not read the exact thing. You can just pause and read it. What is absolute humidity? It is very clear from the name itself that how much water is there, total water is there in a packet of air, per volume of air. So weight of water vapor per unit volume of air. This is absolutely correct. Then specific humidity. Specific humidity means that when you are comparing, this you are comparing with volume. So for example, if this is your air passage, then this much volume is occupied by water vapor. Okay? So this is your absolute humidity. Then when you compare the weight of water vapor as compared to the weight of air, that becomes specific humidity. And relative humidity is very interesting, and relative humidity is the most relevant indicator to determine the monsoon and monsoonal pattern. Basically, relative humidity means that how much are we actually, how much is the total capacity of this particular air mass and how much humidity is there currently. So it is the percentage of moisture present in the atmosphere as compared to its full capacity. This is absolutely correct. And when we say that relative humidity is 100%, then it causes rainfall. Okay? When an air patch will have maximum amount of water that it can take, just think about a bucket. When will a bucket overflow? When all its capacity is done, right? All its capacity is filled. Similarly, when the capacity of an air mass, which we call a cloud basically, when it is filled up, only then it will start raining. So when the relative humidity crosses 100%, that is when it starts raining. So here, all three pairs are correct. Next. Which of the following are the favorable conditions for the temperature inversion? Short winter nights, dry air near the ground surface and snow covered surface. इनमें से कौन सी conditions हैं जो कि suitable हैं to carry on temperature inversion? So temperature inversion क्या होता है? In troposphere, when you go away from the ground upwards, you are actually losing temperature, right? Temperature is going down. Temperature inversion means that this is your ground and here there is a patch of cool air, okay? Because the air has been trapped. The cool air has been trapped, and as you go up, the temperature keeps on getting warmer. So this is a localized condition, okay? And for this condition to form, you actually need long winter nights. Okay, long winter nights. For this passage of cold air to be stuck on the ground, you need long winter nights. The first one is incorrect. Then dry air near the ground surface. This is actually correct. What will happen is, the drier the air is, the less it will absorb heat, because there will be no water. Okay, water absorbs heat. So when water is not there in the air patch, then it is not absorbing any heat. It is not going upwards, and it will create a localized environment. Fine. So dry air near the ground surface, so that the ground surface can remain cooler. And of course, you can understand that a snow covered surface will obviously help to create a localized condition wherein the lower level of ground of the atmosphere has lower temperature, and as you go up, the temperature increases. So second and third option are correct. And here I would also like you to note that in polar areas, throughout the year, you have the temperature inversion conditions. So basically, temperature inversion is their normal temperature. Fine, I hope you are able to understand this. So 2 and 3 here are correct, and it does not need short winter nights. It needs long winter nights. So here C is the correct answer. Next. Consider the following pairs regarding the atmospheric layers. Atmospheric layer का नाम दिया है और उसके salient features दिए हैं. We have already done this in the chapter of atmosphere. So just see troposphere. Aviation takes place here. Does aviation take place in troposphere or in stratosphere? Aviation takes place in stratosphere. ठीक है, not in troposphere. So stratosphere is the correct answer. ठीक है, first is incorrect. Then stratosphere, home to ozone layer. This is absolutely correct. Stratosphere is indeed the home to ozone layer. Mesosphere. Mesosphere is named so because it is the middle layer. It is also named so because meteorites end up burning in this particular layer. When they come, hit the earth, meteors hit the earth or meteorites hit the earth. Many times this happens. But because so many layers of atmosphere are there, that is why the meteoroids get burned in the midway only, and they do not reach the surface of the earth, or even if they reach, they are very small in their size, so they don't have any impact. And this meteor burning does happen in the mesosphere. So this is absolutely correct. And thermosphere houses International Space Station. Thermosphere does in fact house the International Space Station. So here only 3 pairs are correctly matched. The first one, troposphere, is not correctly matched because the aircrafts will move in the stratosphere, wherein there are less clouds, wherein there is no temperature, there is no weather modification that is there, so that flight can easily carry on, right? Moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding radiation. The Earth's surface loses heat majorly through conduction, and non-ionizing radiation is low energy radiation as compared to the ionizing radiation. Which of the given statements is or are correct? So, radiation, basically the incoming rays, which are the short wave rays, and the outgoing rays, which are the long wave infrared rays, we lose energy through radiation. We don't lose it through conduction or convection or advection. When we are actually losing energy, we are losing it through radiation. So first statement is incorrect. Coming to the second one, non-ionizing radiation is low energy radiation. This is absolutely correct as compared to the ionizing radiation. Yes, this you might have known. This is a question of basic science also, that the ionizing radiation is always more harmful. It is always more impactful as compared to the non-ionizing radiation. Fine. So this is there, and I hope this is understandable. ठीक है, चलो. So here answer will be 2 only. Next and the last question. Consider the following statements regarding temperature inversion. Subsistence inversion is a non-advection temperature inversion. commonly observed in the northern continents. A frontal inversion is stable and has long-lasting impacts. And radiation inversion occurs due to cold nights and gets destroyed during the daytime. How many of the given statements is or are correct? So, we have already talked about temperature inversion. So temperature inversion, maybe there is something called subsistence inversion, wherein it is a non-advectional temperature inversion. What is an advection? It is the horizontal movement of warm and cold air passage, right? So it is a non-advectional temperature inversion which is commonly observed in the northern continents only, wherein when a widespread layer of air, it descends down and it is compressed and heated, which is why what happens is that the lower layers are cooler and the upper layers are warmer. ठीक है, तो ये चीज हो जाती है. फर्स्ट इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट, बट frontal inversion, it is not stable and it does not have long lasting effect. Whenever you see a front, ठीक है, cold front and warm front, they meet, so they never meet in this way that they stay that way forever, right? That's a very unstable kind of a frontal system. ठीक है, तो it does not have long lasting impacts. Frontal inversion, because of the warm front and cold front meeting, that is a short lasting impact. So second is incorrect. And radiation inversion occurs due to cold nights and gets destroyed during the daytime. Yes, it is actually radiation inversion which we refer to when we commonly talk about inversion itself, temperature inversion. ठीक है, तो तीन तरीके की inversion है, subsistence, frontal and radiation. यहाँ पे second statement is incorrect. Any type of radiation, any type of inversion as such is not very long lasting. ठीक है, because regularly the pattern of atmosphere is such that as you go higher up the atmosphere, the temperature will reduce. ठीक है, so here only two of the given statements are correct. Fine. All right, so we have reached the end of this class and we have done the heat exchanges. Now what we are going to do is we are going to study about how atmospheric circulation happens. So how the various permanent wind systems, then temporary wind systems, how they function and how they impact the overall atmosphere, right? So that we will do in the next class. What I want you to do is I want you to read the aspect of heat balance and heat budget from the class 11th NCERT or Sunya book from wherever you are covering geography. Just maintain the source as only one source. Okay? So do that, and in the next class we are going to talk about atmospheric circulation. And if you are being benefited from these class, do let us know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next lecture. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.